It's 9:50 on Wednesday, February the 4th. The House Criminal Justice Subcommittee is now in session. Members, if you have not already signed in, please sign in and we will take roll. Madam Clerk, take the roll. Emily will cut you on. There you go.
Mr. Chairman, you have 7 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Members, before we begin, our good friend and colleague, Representative Rusty Grills, had to leave yesterday for a family issue. His father-in-law has passed away. And so if you will, let's take a moment of silence to think about him and his wife, Christy, and their 2 girls. Thank you very much. Any personal orders before we begin today? Seeing none, we've made some changes to the criminal justice team staff here, but I'll go back through and introduce everyone. Our committee attorney is Ms. Michelle Fogarty, and Elizabeth is here. Hey, Elizabeth and Sonia's here, so wonderful. Welcome. Research analyst, we made a change this year. We've got Jackson Stubblefield with us. To my left, committee assistant Emily Hamby. Our clerk is Bailey Griffith. Our legislative recorder, Elizabeth Edwards. We have an intern with us, Victoria Grigsby. And then the world famous Sergeant of Arms, Mr. Tyler Munez, who will bring us our weekly words of wisdom, but he's not here, so we'll have to punt. No? Okay. All right. All right. Before we get started today, we're going to go through a few bills that have had some things going on here. So item number 2, House Bill 1233 by Representative Gillespie is off notice. Item 3, House Bill 850 by Representative Renaud, roll 1 week. Item 5, House Bill 1098 by Representative Towns, off notice. Item 6, House Bill 931 by Representative Towns, off notice. Item 7, House Bill 650 by Representative Parkinson, off notice. Item 8, House Bill 1372 by Representative Chisholm will be rolled to a special calendar to be published with the final calendar. Item 11, House Bill 1395 by Representative Pearson will be rolled to a special calendar to be published with the final calendar. And item number 12, House Bill 1295 by Representative Powell will be off notice. And brings us to item number 1, House Bill 1552 by Representative Powers. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. This bill is a Secretary of State office bill, and it's about the Safe at Home program. The Safe at Home program provides victims of domestic violence and other crimes a substitute address, so they are not, an abuser cannot discover a victim's home address or through public records. So this bill actually does 3 things. It'll update the Safe at Home laws to allow a sibling to be a co-applicant. And number 2, it clarifies that a victim does not need an order of protection from Tennessee court to enroll in the Safe at Home program when moving to Tennessee from another state. And number 3, it adds the persistent domestic violence offenders registry that we passed last year to the list of exclusions from the program. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I renew my motion and take any questions.
All right, members, are there any questions for the sponsor of the bill? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're now voting to send House Bill 1552 on to full judiciary. Madam Clerk, please open the board. Does anyone wish to change the vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes and 0 noes.
The ayes prevail. House Bill 1552 moves on to full judiciary. Item number 4, House Bill 599 by Representative Freeman. You have a motion second. You're recognized. There is amendment code 12763. Do you wish to proceed with that amendment?
Yes, sir, I do. Would you like me to explain it?
I will need a motion and a second on the amendment. All right, you're recognized on the amendment.
Yeah, this just changes the enacting date to July 1st of 26.
Very good. Any questions on that? Seeing none, we're now voting to adopt amendment code 12763 on the House Bill 599. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Ayes prevail. You adopt or own your bill as amended. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. So this is a pretty simple bill. Back in 2019, we unanimously passed a law that made it illegal to transfer, sell someone to someone who's been mentally adjudicated. All this does is expand those penalties to someone who knowingly is not allowed to own or possess a firearm. I think we all agree that we already agree that there are certain people that should not be able to purchase firearms, and it is illegal for them to purchase a firearm, but it is not a penalty for someone to sell them a firearm. And so this just expands the penalty. So someone has to knowingly know that they are not allowed to purchase a firearm, and if they do so, it's a Class A misdemeanor.
Thank you very much. We do have someone to testify on this today, or at least signed up on the list. Joanna Kahane, is that close? Perfect. Wonderful. All right, members, we're going to go out of session. Hear from our guest. If you will, introduce yourself for the record. You'll have 3 minutes for comments, and we'll open it up for questions.
It is on. Okay. I'm going to be short. My name is Johanna Cohane. I'm from Robertson County, and I'm here today to thank you for bringing this bill to the committee because it can and will save lives in the state of Tennessee. In 2024, there were approximately 1,400 firearm-related deaths in the state of Tennessee. That equates to 20.2 firearm deaths per 100,000 people. There were a little over 800 suicides with firearms. Firearm violence has also particularly affected children as firearm deaths have become the #1 cause of death of children. Also of note, in 2022, there were at least 165 domestic violence-related homicides, and 59% were by firearm. I just wanted to say that I appreciate this bill, that I think it's common sense, and that any bill that prevents firearms from being put into the hands of those who should not have them will save lives. And I appreciate the committee hearing this and the representative bringing it.
Members, are there anyone that has questions or thoughts for our guest? Seeing none. Thank you for being with us. We're going to go back into session. We're back on the bill. Leader Lamberth, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I'm certain this was just an oversight, but when you said that the only thing it changes, it does add or reasonably should know that the person is prohibited from purchasing or possessing a firearm. And I think those words are being added in. Was that intentional on your part, or did you mean for this to truly just be an intent crime? And what's the mens rea that's required here?
Yes, sir.
So the language should mirror the language that we passed in 2019, which if that's not accurate, I'm happy to roll this and change the language. But my understanding is in 2019, you either know or reasonably should know that someone has been mentally adjudicated and therefore not allowed to purchase a firearm. And so you cannot transfer, sell, or loan them a firearm. The concept of this whole bill is not to expand in any way, shape, or form those that can or cannot purchase firearms. It's just putting the onus on the person to give them a firearm. Because right now, if someone that I know has committed a felony or has been order of protection put out on them and they cannot go out and purchase a firearm themselves, there is no penalty in Tennessee for me giving them a firearm, selling them one of my firearms, or loaning it to them. And I think the idea is if we want to make sure that good people have guns, if we believe in the good guy theory, let's make sure that the right people are purchasing firearms. And again, let's hold ourselves accountable.
Yes, sir.
And with all due respect, I mean, there's probably very little of what you just said that folks would disagree with. I'm just getting into the language of what's actually before us in the bill. And so, yes, I would agree with you that we do not want someone who's been mentally adjudicated, who is a convicted felon, who has not gotten their rights restored, but what it says is it's an offense for something to knowingly give, sell, lend, deliver, or otherwise transfer a firearm. And if you skip on down, or reasonably should know that the person receiving the firearm is prohibited from purchasing, it's a very broad definition. So what I don't want to happen is someone hands a firearm to someone else that they have no idea has been mentally adjudicated defective. They don't know the person very well. They hand it right back to them, and boom, all of a sudden they're facing almost a year in jail. I don't think that's your intention as well. Or I can't imagine that it would, Boob. You've known each other a long time, served together. If you don't mind, I mean, I think there's a way to get there on this bill. It's finally moving in the Senate, I think. But could we take about 2 weeks, just get with legal, look at the language? Because we're not talking about vendors here. We're not talking about retail. We're talking about just average, everyday individuals that don't have a lot of those systems in place. And I think this statute originally dealt with more retail establishments. So to me, it should say a person intended to give, sell, deliver, or otherwise transfer a firearm to a person they know. And then what it does is it narrows that down to where that person actually did have the intent to do something wrong there. And by the way, something they absolutely should not be doing.
Yes, sir.
Legal's here. Would we like to engage them now for a second and then see if it gets you comfortable and we move on and deal with it? Or if the will of the committee is to roll it 2 weeks and let us work through it. But I mean, again, under your example, if someone, knew or didn't know, but yeah, I'm at the will of the committee.
We'll go out of session to hear from legal services.
Sure.
Michelle Fogarty, Legal Services. What's the question?
Leader Lambert.
Yeah, I didn't want legal to have to ask their questions and answer them. So here was my question. So is the definition that is here, is it different than what the statute includes currently?
Yes, the statute currently does not use the reasonably should know language in regards to mentally defective persons or selling to persons who are prohibited by state or federal law from possessing a firearm.
Yes.
And when you join that with knowingly give, sell, lend, deliver, otherwise transfer, does that reduce the mens rea or the intent requirements in a statute?
Well, the jury would have to find that they reasonably should have known that the person was prohibited from possessing a firearm.
And is that less of a mens rea standard from intent?
It could be, yes.
All right, thank you.
Representative Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is for legal. Under Part 1316, that pretty much deals with licensed individuals that sell firearms, correct?
Yes, sir. The first part of the statute deals with federally licensed firearms dealers. And then there's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
In like subsection Q lists several offenses for just any person to purchase or attempt to purchase a firearm knowing that they're prohibited from owning or possessing or purchasing. Also, it's an offense to sell or offer to sell a firearm to a person knowing that the person is prohibited by state or federal law from owning, possessing, or purchasing. And then the offense to transfer a firearm to a person knowing that the person has been judicially committed to a mental institution or adjudicated as a mental defective.
And Part 1303, that just deals with an individual that would loan it or make a gift of firearm to another person. Is that correct?
Yes, that deals with intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly selling, loaning, or making a gift of a firearm to a minor or to a person who is intoxicated.
I would think that this would probably fall under more of 1303 than 1316. So thank you.
Chairman Farmer.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just looking at the language of the bill. Section 1 reads, it's an offense to knowingly give, sell, lend, deliver, or otherwise transfer a firearm to a person when the transfer knows or reasonably should know. So what if we, question illegal, what if we just strike or reasonably should know out? And then it'll read the transfer knows that the person receiving the firearm is prohibited from purchasing or possessing a firearm under the state or federal law. Then that should get us close to mirroring what I think is the current law is. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, sir.
So are we in session or are we out of session talking legal?
We are currently out of session with
Okay.
legal services.
All right. That's my question for legal. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for legal? Seeing none, we'll go back into session. Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to roll this 2 weeks so that he can get with legal and try to hopefully get maybe a better version that actually accomplishes what I think the intent of the sponsor was.
All right. Before we go any further with that, I have to let you know what the posture of the bill is. This is on its third calendar, so any rolls would have to go to the special calendar to be published with our final calendar, just because of the posture it's in. Yes, sir.
I would welcome Chairman Farmer's amendment if we want to do that here.
I will say this, and we've got plenty of time left in the year, in the session, before we start making, verbal amendments in the first committee meeting, yes, sir. Representative Powell.
Mr. Chairman, I understand that. I guess if this is rolled to the special calendar, then won't this go to the very last calendar of the year?
Yes, sir. That'll be when we do our final calendar, we'll take up the special calendar.
Okay. So this committee, I mean, in that posture, then I would say, could we not offer a verbal amendment? The chairman that could make that is obviously the chairman of the next committee. As long as he feels comfortable with that, then he definitely has purview over that. If you are as well, Mr. Chairman, I think that would be at least keep it rolling, and we're not having to wait till the end of the year to take up a issue like this.
Yes, sir.
My fear if we do that is that it will stall again in the Senate. And if we can have some forward movement here, I promise I will take the amendment. I won't even calendar it in the next committee until we get comfortable with it.
Leader Lambert.
Sure, is my motion. So might I make a suggestion? We're here at virtually the first committee meeting of this year. There are hundreds of other bills that are filed. Even if this one, for some reason, because I didn't know it was on the third time in this committee either. But if for some reason it goes to the special calendar, just as a recommendation, potentially looking at maybe another bill that's out there that you could take on to kind of do the same thing, but in a better version. So, but I mean, special calendar doesn't mean that for some reason it's dead in this committee. It just goes to that special calendar because of the fact that it's on its third visit here.
Yes, sir. Chairman Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to make an oral amendment 1 to the bill to strike. We pull that back up, please. I'll make an oral amendment that we strike or reasonably should know out of this legislation today.
All right, there's a proper motion and a second to make an oral amendment. Any discussion? Chairman Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And would this still be under Part 1316, or is this going to go 1303?
Chairman Farmer.
Well, that's a great question. It looks to me as it'd be under 3917 1316.
Chairman Russell.
I necessarily don't know that that's what he wants to do. If he wants it for a private individual to loan a gun to somebody or give it to somebody, if it's going under a firearm dealer.
Leader Lambert.
Mr. Chairman, could we go back out of session legal? I think Chairman Russell makes an excellent point. I know we're on the amendment here, the oral amendment, but this is also why, I mean, normally, and I respect the Chairman, we try to do oral amendments. I think it's a very valid point. Why is it couched under 1316 when 1303 at least appears to deal with other criminal actions of transferring firearms by individuals, not retailers?
All right, we'll go out of session to hear from Legal Services.
Michelle Fogarty, Office of Legal Services. 3917, 1316 does also contain offenses that apply to any person, not just a federally licensed firearms dealer, as well as 3917, 1303 deals with the unlawful sale, loan, or gift of a firearm. It's just a policy decision of the members as to where they want their bill placed.
Would adding this language here cause any confusion as to which charge could be brought by law enforcement when they come across this? The reason I ask that, there's about 3 different sections in the code where underage drinking is illegal. and it creates a bit of a mess. And I'm looking at Chairman Farmer, he's kind of nodding his head, and we haven't cleaned it up over the years, but it really causes a problem because we've added it in several different places, and it creates confusion for the court system. I just don't want to create any more confusion by trying to do something that sounds like a good thing, but further, I guess, entangling the statute just because we don't want to take a few weeks. So.
Anyone else for legal? You got a question for legal?
Just let it go. It's fine.
Sure. Okay.
The way I hear it though, and Leader, I appreciate your comment, and I certainly am not trying to make this more confusing, but it's already in there. I mean, we already have the two different codes currently. So whether we put it in one or the other, I mean, we still have two. So it doesn't, I mean, I appreciate that comment, but that doesn't solve your problem. And is that a correct statement?
3917, 1316 has offenses that involve selling or purchasing a firearm, as well as transferring a firearm to someone who's been adjudicated mentally defective. The language in your bill includes sell, lend, deliver, or otherwise transfer. So it is correct. We do have two statutes we would have two statutes that deal with selling if your bill passed as written in that instance, because 1303, 3917, 1303 is limited to, well, it also includes selling, loaning, or making a gift of a firearm to a minor or to a person who's intoxicated. So it's already jumbled.
Chairman Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is for legal under 1316 A1A. It says a person appropriately licensed by a federal government. And so we're talking about a licensed business here or a person. What part of 1316 deals with an individual giving it to somebody? What part?
That would be subsection Q. It is an offense for a person to purchase or attempt to purchase a firearm, knowing that they are prohibited by state or federal law from owning, possessing, or purchasing. Under subdivision Q2, it is an offense to sell or offer to sell a firearm to a person, knowing that the person is prohibited by state or federal law from owning, purchasing, or possessing. And subdivision Q3, it's an offense to transfer a firearm to a person, knowing that the person has been judicially committed to a mental institution or adjudicated as a mental defective.
Yes.
And that's not referring to a licensed firearm dealer for Q?
No, sir. It's just, it applies to a person.
Thank you.
Chairman Farmer.
Just real quick, and I'm just going to ask this question. So it sounds to me like both of these statutes reference one another, and they kind of work together with regards to how the law is written. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, 1303 is specific to minors and persons who are intoxicated.
Okay. But there's references to 1316 and.
Yes.
So
1303 also references 1316.
So it looks like they're cross-referencing one another. So they really, in order to get into it, unfortunately, I'm sure some of this was passed before we got here, but it sounds like how this is written at some point in time in the past, they'll be using each statute to work with the other. I don't know. We're definitely not going to do a rewrite of this entire statute today, but just trying to help Representative Freeman. I know he works hard on his bills, try to get something moving for him. So, but I just want to make it clear, these statutes work together.
Yes, and it would be up to the district attorney to decide which statute most fit the circumstances.
Okay. Fair enough. Thanks.
Leader Lamberth.
Mr. Chairman, I have a feeling that's why this committee's known as one of the more difficult to pass a bill through, because we are very specific, but we're dealing with people's freedom. And I don't think any of us, including the sponsor, want to create a trap in the statute where a good, honest person who has done nothing wrong winds up getting charged with a crime that they're not guilty of. To legal specifically in this statute, either in 1316 or 1303, is lend currently included within the statute, that it's illegal to lend a firearm to someone who is prohibited under state or federal law to possess one. Does it say lend in the current statute anywhere?
The only place I see transfer is in regards to persons who are mentally defective or committed to a judicially committed to a mental institution. The other subdivisions use the term sell or the attempt to purchase, sell or offer to sell.
But my question is the word lend anywhere in the current statute?
The only place I see lend is in 1303 about loaning a firearm to a minor.
To a minor. Is the word, and does it say loan or lend in the minor statute?
It says loan.
Where is lend defined in the statute?
It is
It is an undefined term.
correct.
Okay. What about deliver? Is it in the current statute? Because I'm unpacking even more stuff that we're changing here when the original presentation was, well, we're only changing this thing. There's several words in here that are changed. So is deliver in the current statute in either one? And I know this is a lot to look for, and I say this every year. The lawyers that work for these committees have the most difficult legal job in the planet. They have to look through thousands of pages of code to try to answer a question in minutes. So please understand, I deeply appreciate y'all looking for this. This is not normally how lawyers would research. It would take days, weeks, or months to get through these answers. But I just wonder, is deliver in the current statute as illegal?
It is not.
Okay. Is deliver defined?
No.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Russell.
Is the gift and a firearm in any one of these statutes?
3917 1303 uses the term make a gift of a firearm to a minor, or it's an offense to make a gift of a firearm to a minor.
And that's for an individual to gift a firearm to a minor.
A person commits an offense who intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly makes a gift of a firearm to a minor. There are some defenses for that, just to be clear.
Thank you. And I got a question for the sponsor whenever we get back in session.
Is gift and give the same thing?
They are not defined.
Okay. Thank you. Chairman Farmer, you got a,
We just kind of go back in session.
okay. Anything else for legal while we're here? All right. We'll go back into session. Representative Farmer, you had a question. Let me go to Representative Russell. He was first. You got a question for the sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to the sponsor, did you consult with the district attorney to see which statute this was fall under the best for prosecution?
So the direction was given to legal to mirror the bill from 2019. And I believe that at that point, there was discussions with the district attorneys on where best to put this.
I understand what you want to do, but I just don't think that it's going to fall under the right statute if you're dealing directly with firearms sellers and instead of an individual person. But thank you.
Chairman, I respectfully disagree. I think they just answered that it does follow under the area that we wanted it to be. And I appreciate the legalese between loan and lend, but I would view those as being similar. I don't know the distinction between loaning someone and lending something to someone. I mean, I think it is the same. But again, I stand at the will of the body. I'm happy to accept the verbal amendment and we can discuss it more. Happy to roll it to the final calendar. These are important issues to me. These are issues that we've already agreed upon, that there are categories of people that we do not think can safely own and purchase a firearm. I think that there is no penalty today for you to do that. And I don't think that's right. I think that we should hold people accountable if they knowingly transfer, purchase, lend, loan, go pick up a gun, deliver it to somebody else. I think these are all things that we as a body have a responsibility to ensure the safety of Tennesseans. We're not expanding who can and can't do the purchase a firearm. We're just making sure that there aren't loopholes through which they can get a firearm.
Now, we're still on the motion to amend, so that's what we're discussing here. Chairman Farmer.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think based off the discussions we just had by Leader Lamberth and Chairman Russell and others, these words have substantial meaning, and it's important that we keep them uniform throughout the code. And with that said, I'm going to withdraw the oral amendment that I just put forward because I think it's worth us taking the time to get this right. Because as we've noticed, these few sections of the code, they hold different things and they cross-reference. And if we could go back and make those uniform, which I'm sure there's other portions of the code we could work on that too, and it'd probably take years. But I think for now, I would like to withdraw my amendment, Mr. Chair, and let's take some time to work on this. Let's get it. Okay. Thanks.
Amendment has been withdrawn. Leader Lamberth, you were on the list. You still want to talk, or you?
Mr. Chairman, at this time, again, I would make a motion, or excuse me, I move that we roll this 2 weeks with the understanding, I did not know it was up the third time. 2 weeks, I think, would be sufficient to look at all these issues, but give, lend, deliver, reasonably should have known. All these are new terms, and 3 of them are completely undefined. And I understand in every other aspect of the world, an undefined term may not matter. But when you're talking about somebody potentially going to jail for 1 day shy of a year, it matters. So and I know it matters to you, it matters to me. We have to get the words right in here to fit with what you're intending to do, to protect folks, to make sure that guns are not getting into the hands of the wrong people, but to also make sure that innocent Tennesseans who are just exercising their civil liberties are not being arrested and put in jail over a term that's undefined in the statute. I mean, that's why those definitions are so critical. And we're here at the very beginning of the committee. I mean, we're at the very start of the year. So that is, I guess, my statements in support of my hopeful motion to move this 2 weeks.
Well, we can't move it 2 weeks. We have to move it to the special calendar, be published with the final calendar. That's the only posture that we have left on this. Is that what? So moved? All right.
Glad I could get you guys moving here. This is good. Like, started off right.
You're lubricating our joints
Yeah,
this
that's
morning.
right.
We've been a little rusty.
Use it or lose it.
Yes, sir. All right, that's seconded. Any objection to moving to the special calendar be published with the final calendar? Seeing none, House Bill 599 will be rolled to the special calendar to be published with the final calendar.
Thank you, Chairman Committee.
Thank you. The next item on the calendar today is House Joint Resolution 745 by Representative Jones. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. To be quite honest, I'm a bit perplexed why a very simple honoring and memorializing resolution for a mother who was murdered was bumped off the consent calendar and sent to the Criminal Justice Subcommittee. But I think the only possible explanation is that members of this committee believe that the actions of the ICE officers who murdered Renee Good were criminal. That murder is a crime, and that's probably the reason it was sent to this committee. That's the only reason I can think of. Yesterday, Renee Good's brother testifying before Congress described his sister's actions in Minneapolis using a quote from J.R.R. Tolkien. Some believe it is only great power that can hold evil in check, but that is not what I have found. It is the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Small acts of kindness and love. That is who Renee Good was. An ordinary person who took up the extraordinary task of protecting her community. Her little brother called her a light, the light that finds us on hard days. And she has not left us, not really. She continues in the resilience we didn't know we had until we needed it. That was her brother's quote. She leaves behind 3 children, age 15, 12, and 6, who now must go on without their mom. While the nation will move on to the next news story, their lives are forever altered. Renee was born in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and had only moved to Minnesota last year. But already she was a valued and ingrained part of the city. She was a poet and a writer, and neighbors talked about her as a beautiful part of their community, highlighting her warmth and kindness. Donna Ganger, her mother, described her as extremely compassionate and said she's taken care of people all her life. She was loving, forgiving, and affectionate. She was an amazing human being. Her father, Tim Ganger, told the Washington Post that she had a good life, but a hard life. Yet despite that, the federal government has attempted to smear her as an extremist and a domestic terrorist. Brazen lies meant to distract from the fact that she was a citizen exercising her right in a democracy to document and protest government abuse of power. Renee Good's life was stolen. Her murder recorded, her final moments captured frame by frame, and what we witnessed was not just horrific on a personal level. It rattled the conscience of this nation. Masked men, masked armed men backed by the United States government, carried out an execution on the streets of Minneapolis. They stole the life of a mother who, after dropping her child off at daycare, went out to ensure that her immigrant neighbors were safe, and that despite the fear-mongering and scapegoating, that they knew they were not alone. A small everyday deed keeping the darkness at bay. Her death, officially declared a homicide by the coroner, is morally repugnant, and we have an obligation to speak up and recognize the truth. That is what this vote is ultimately about, justice through truth. So before you is a resolution that cannot take back the preventable tragedy that occurred in Minnesota on January 7th, 2026. It cannot stop the lawless terror in Minneapolis or protect our communities from rogue agents violating our civil liberties, destroying the Constitution, and committing acts of brutality in the name of public safety. It cannot stop the politics of cruelty and division or affirm the dignity of immigrants who make this nation great. But what it can do is show that truth is above politics and partisanship and pettiness. It can honor the work and life of an ordinary American woman who set out that day not to be a hero, but to keep the darkness at bay. What can we do to shine a light and allow Renee Good's legacy to live in the record of the House? We can pass on a message here to future generations, to her children and the children we turn this state and country over to, that in the midst of this chaos and misinformation and terror, we stood up for truth and dignity. What we can do here today is decide that life lived in service of others, that a life taken in the service of others, deserves our respect, and that the privilege of honoring such a life is ours. This is not about an issue of left or right. We vote every day on resolutions honoring people who were killed without controversy, without issue. And so I ask members of this committee to please consider this resolution and to be on the right side of history. Thank you.
Leader Lamberth.
Move previous question.
Previous questions called, seconded. There is objection, so we will be on the board for previous question. All those in favor of previous question will vote aye. Those that oppose will vote no. Does anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 ayes and 2 noes.
Previous question prevails. We are now voting to send House Joint Resolution 745 to full judiciary. Those in favor will vote aye on the board. Those opposed will vote no. Anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 2 ayes and 6 noes.
The noes prevail. House Joint Resolution 745 fails. Yes, sir.
Point of order. I have no idea why this simple resolution honoring a brave murdered woman was sent to this criminal justice sub. So I guess I'm trying to get clarification why this was even sent to this committee. And if I could, I'd like to make a motion that we send this back to the full House.
I can't answer why it was sent back. I don't know if that fits within the point of order. That would be a procedure that was done on the floor. From my understanding, at any time, anyone can create a resolution to honor anyone and resubmit it through the proper channels. to do so. So that does not mean that this resolution or any other resolution that honors anyone that goes through the body of the House would be absolutely done for the year. So any member can bring back a resolution to honor or recognize or memorialize anyone throughout our current process that we have according to House rules. Yes, sir.
So essentially, if someone was to refile this same resolution, it wouldn't necessarily be sent back to this subcommittee. Is that correct?
Unless someone on the House floor made a motion to send it back to this committee or another committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Representative Salinas.
If that what you just stated is true, it seems like we're just playing politics with this, and we're adding to the pain of a family that has already lost a lot. What's the point if another member can bring the same resolution and bring it through the same process? Why are we going through this? We are adding trauma. We are adding to the pain that not only this family is going through, our country and everybody that calls the U.S. their home is going through. And to me, it's heartless. It's cruel. And I really don't understand why we come here every day. I come here to make sure that Tennessee is a better place. And things like this really sadden me for our country and for our state.
All right. Anyone else? Members, we are out of time, or we had the room until 10:30 this morning. So all bills that were not heard today will be rolled to next week's calendar. The House Criminal Justice Subcommittee is now adjourned.